Lesson 4, Question 9. In the process of discovering what animals want to do, a knowledge of the natural or normal behavioral repertoire of a species is a vital step in understanding what is good for their welfare. It draws our attention to the differences between wild and captive members of that species, and therefore makes us aware of the possible behaviors that the captive ones might want to do. It does not say that they will necessarily want to do them just because they are natural, but it provides obvious candidates to be tested. The fact that the jungle fowl ancestors of our domestic chickens always roost in trees at night, for example, highlights the possible importance of roosting to modern breeds. It does not tell us that all modern chickens still definitely want to roost, but it provides a very plausible hypothesis that this might be important to them. Such a hypothesis can then be tested by investigating whether modern chickens still want to roost. They do. 정글파울 야생당 루스트 새가 횃대에서 자다 쉬다. Lesson 4, Question 10. Inevitably, the world of electoral systems is crowded and complex and becoming more so all the time. One country's electoral system is never the same as another's, although in some cases, the differences are quite small. Given the range of variations among the different electoral systems, this makes life quite difficult for the analyst seeking to produce an acceptable typology. One option might be to simply base a classification of the systems in terms of their outputs. That is, with reference to the process of translating votes into seats, where one distinguishes between those systems, which have proportional outcomes, and those with non-proportional outcomes. The essence of proportional systems is to ensure that the number of seats each party wins reflects as closely as possible the number of votes it has received. In non-proportional systems, by contrast, greater importance is attached to ensuring that one party has a clear majority of seats over its competitors, thereby hopefully increasing the prospect of a strong and stable government. Typology 유형 분류 체계. Lesson 4. Question 11. Melodies are defined not by the absolute value of each pitch, but by the pattern or relation of successive pitches across time. Most people have no trouble recognizing a melody that is played in a higher or lower key than they've heard it in before. In fact, many melodies do not have a correct starting pitch. They just float freely in space, starting anywhere. Happy Birthday is an example of this. One way to think about a melody, then, is as an abstract prototype that is derived from specific combinations of key, tempo, instrumentation, and so on. A cognitive psychologist would say that a melody is an auditory object that maintains its identity in spite of transformations, just as a chair maintains its identity when you move it to the other room, turn it upside down, or paint it red. So, for example, if you hear a song played louder than you are accustomed to, you still identify it as the same song. The same holds for changes in the absolute pitch values of the song, which can be changed so long as the relative distances between them remain the same. Prototype 원형. Lesson 4, Question 12. The Dutch news site De Correspondent was born with the idea of incorporating active readers from the start. Jay Rosen, the NYU professor who became an advisor to the organization, explained how the journalists were expected to have a radically different relationship with the reader than in traditional media. Expectations are that writers will continuously share what they are working on with the people who follow them and read their stuff. They will pose questions and post call-outs as they launch new projects, what they want to find out, the expertise they are going to need to do this right, any sort of help they want from readers. Sometimes readers are the project. Writers also manage the discussion threads, which are not called comments, but contributions in order to highlight the best additions and pull useful material into the next version of an ongoing story. Some of these crowdsourcing techniques have been used by journalists on more mainstream papers, notably David Farenthold of The Washington Post. 크라우드소싱, 크라우드소싱 대중을 통해 돈과 자원을 모으는 모금 방식.